Of all the adaptations of Lovecraft stories out there, I'd say Dagon is probably my favorite. The film should be actually called Innsmouth because it's a loose adaptation of that story and has no elements of the Dagon story in it, except that the big bad entity in the film is called Dagon. It starts out with the main character, Paul Marsh. Well, we'll see how that turns out, on holiday in Spain with his hot mamacita girlfriend, Barbara. Their boat gets wrecked in a storm, so they have to take it to the nearby seaport village of Imboca, which is a bit of Spanish there, a play on words, because boca is mouth in Spanish, so basically Imboca is in mouth. Of course, it's filled with Deep One hybrid cultists, and Barbara is stolen away, and Paul is tasked with uncovering the horrific reality of the town and the cult, the esoteric order of, come say it with me, Dagon. He meets up with the Zadok Allen character, now called Ezekiel. There are also characters in the roles of Obed Marsh, Barnabas Marsh, and so on in the film, but all with Spanish names, or simply not named at all. From there on, the film plays out more or less as in the Innsmouth tale, including a flashback as seen in Zadok Allen's monologue. There are some deviations from the actual story, like when Paul breaks into the mansion of the Obed Marsh character and is confronted with a very Lovecraftian mermaid hybrid who is an original character to the film and plays an important role in this film. It makes me question my stance against eating seafood, as it is the case with Paul himself.
The fuck's he talking about?
I thought you were a bacala man, Uncle June. What are you doing eating sushi?
At times the film is pretty gruesome. The Zadok Allen character gets an execution that would make a Mexican cartel think twice. Paul's hot girlfriend is later chained up naked and lowered into a watery pit, and if you've seen enough hentai, yeah, you can guess what happens then. Paul is obviously pissed at this and he goes nuts, setting fire to cultists who scream in agony, reminding me of that brilliant game Blood. Good, fuck those cultists. In fact, there's quite a lot of action in this film, more than Lovecraft put in his story, and frankly, it's welcome. In short, the film is a lot more intense than what Lovecraft would have shown regarding violence and sex, but to be honest, how did the Innsmouth hybrids come about? Sex, and surely it wasn't all consensual. And what did happen to Zadok Allen? Lovecraft said he just disappeared and nobody ever heard from him again. But, well, it's not beyond the pale of imagination to imagine that something violent happened to him. Thus, I think that these parts do actually fall in line with what is Lovecraftian. The film is very Spanish, being made in Spain with a large Spanish cast and crew, and was produced by Spanish production companies. This is alone something that subjectively scores points in my book. Well, that's because I'm absolutely infatuated with Spain. The ending of the film will be no shock if you've read the Innsmouth tale, but it's done differently, and I may even dare say that it might have been a fraction better than Lovecraft's ending. Maybe. Not a lot, but maybe just as good. And that's the thing with the film, it's a loose adaptation of Innsmouth, but any changes made are changes which are not for the worse. And I say this as a Lovecraft fanatic who takes great issue with anyone messing with the old gentleman's tales. This also testifies to the knowledge of the mythos and skill of storytelling that the film creators had. It's an intense film, not the biggest budget, but what money they had was well used. A film made by people who respect Lovecraft, made by a director who knows his mythos, and done with a lot of atmosphere and almost pulp-like action scenes and quick pacing, twists and turns, and also the liberal exposure of beautiful, full and succulent Spanish melones. I have no issue with giving Dagon full on 5 stars. A must watch for everyone on this channel. Adios amigos, hasta luego.